Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. I know I missed last week. I'll apologize for it in just a minute. But before I get into today's episode, I just want to let you know today's episode brought to you by the new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf ball. To be your best today, you have to outperform the player you were yesterday. For some, it might be breaking 80. For others, it might be breaking the course record. And for all of us, it's playing a golf ball we know will help us get the most out of our game. The new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X are the most advanced to date and will help reward your best swings like never before. Both models are longer, even more consistent, and feature unrivaled control. Pro V1 is the best combination of distance, spin, and feel in the game and delivers a penetrating ball flight, while Pro V1X flies higher and spins more in the short game, while still giving you low spin on long shots to maximize your distance. Find out more about the Pro V1 and Pro V1X, including which is the best choice for you, at Titleist.com. So, welcome back. It's another Thursday. I know I didn't have a show last week, and I 100% apologize for that. It was out of my control. I actually, on Wednesday, got a brutal case of vertigo, which was caused literally, I was sitting at my desk here at home. I was looking at one monitor. I turned to the right to look at another monitor. Instantly got dizzy. And I mean, we're talking about two monitors. They're like, 6 inches apart, whatever. I mean, I literally looked to the right. Instantly got dizzy, and then it just like snowballed from there. And I, just got dizzy. I started sweating, and to give you more information than you care to know about, like, my family comes from a long family of having heart conditions, bypasses, heart attacks, all that stuff. And I literally didn't know what was going on. Thought I might be having a heart attack, and turned a case of vertigo probably into a panic attack, all that. But thankfully, was not a heart issue in any way. But ended up spending 2 days in the hospital. So I went in Wednesday morning, came out late afternoon Thursday, and if any of you have spent the night or two, whatever, in the hospital, it's impossible to sleep. I was in a room with a roommate who had the TV on full blast. Good old Charles. He took about 50 phone calls over the 2 days, every one of them on speakerphone, and it was just and then between that and the nurses coming in checking your vitals and whatever, it was just one of those things where I got no sleep. So Thursday, by the time I got home, had a little bit of dinner, and I was pretty much done for the night. I was toast. So I apologize. Didn't have this show or TG2 last week, and for that, like I said, I apologize. Thankfully, doing a lot better. I was every day got a little better. I'm back to normal now. It was a crazy thing. If any of you have experienced vertigo, I totally feel for you. It was like uncontrollable dizziness. I mean, I literally all of Wednesday I laid in a hospital bed with my eyes closed, because when I opened them, the room would just spin. If they moved me anywhere, like took my bed to go do like chest x-rays and some other stuff, I instantly got sick, like as soon as I stopped and got settled down wherever I was. So it was just a long couple days. So I apologize for not having a show last week, but it wouldn't have been a good one. Let's put it that way. So I took the week off, and it was not fun. So the only good thing that came out of it is I definitely need to do some more in terms of my personal life. I mean, I'm a chubby gentleman who has not done the exercise thing right, the eating right, all that. So that is definitely something that I've been changing since then, trying to do a little bit better, and like I said, eat a little better, and not eat at night and all this stuff. Just trying to be a little better. So doing all that stuff. But that is why you did not hear from me last week. And like I said, hopefully we don't have to run into that ever again. So, but anyway, hopefully you guys are doing good. It's been an interesting, interesting week. And then after you take the week off, then it's like you're just trying to get back into the groove, and then get everything settled and catch up on what you missed for 3 days. It's just the last week was pretty interesting. So, but I'm back, and super excited about a couple things. One of which, I got a couple things to talk about. I know club wise, I'm not getting into anything that's super huge, but we'll get to that probably next week. I got to get out and hit some balls. We're of course going through, I was like, I'm going to go to the range on Wednesday and hit some balls and da-da-da. Yeah, we've got like an ice storm today. We've got rain and stuff like that. It's like dropping to like 32. It's going to be like an ice rink out there tonight. so I'm not hitting balls today. But I got a few things to talk about, and but no, it's been a good week. I spent a lot of time. If you are not familiar, Golf the Beer X, we just put out our best driver of 2023, and I know best driver, best anything kind of lists are taken with an interesting grain of salt because, for the most part, I mean, best of lists. I mean, the true best of list is going to be you go get fit for a club. The fitter tells you, hey, here's number one, here's number two, here's number three, or whatever it is, because we're all different. If there was some club that was magically better than any other one out there, everyone would play it. So, but if you take a look, our best driver thing did come out, and how we do it is, which I've explained before, but if you're new to the show, if you go to golfthebeerx.com, the post or the article is up, and basically we poll fitters from across the country. I mean, the best fitters in the world, from the large like club champions down to some specialty guys who have boutique shops and all that, and we poll and survey and talk to fitters across the country and just see what it is that they are fitting their customers into. What is what's the best things for players, and then we break it down by club head speed because handicap plays a factor into it, but club head speed we feel kind of plays a little bit more in terms of the player, because you could have a player who's a scratch handicap golfer who swings it 90 miles an hour, and you could have a guy who's going to be who's a 25 handicap who swings at 130. They're not going to fit into the same driver, and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things where just kind of different. So we pull these guys, and then we set it up as best drivers 106 miles an hour and over, 95 to 105, and then 94 and under. And then we also do kind of a most forgiving or straightest driver as well. So a lot of the stuff on there is pretty much the clubs you'd expect, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's really cool to talk to these fitters and kind of just they discuss kind of what they're seeing out there, and with certain heads and why they're fitting these people into them and things like that. And it's like I said, it's not 100% perfect. We know it's not, and if you think any list of any sort in terms of calling anything the best is perfect, it's not. There's flaws in everything, no matter how much no matter how much data you do or how many balls you hit or whatever you do, there's flaws in every of it. And like I said, because at the end of the day, we could look at it and say, hey, one of the 106 and above, one of the best is the Titleist TSR3. You may not hit that well. You may hit, Paradigm better, or, Cobra's Aerojet better, or whatever. So we totally know that. But it's pretty cool. It was fun. Like I said, I got to talk to a bunch of fitters out there on, what they were saying, and just, a lot of cool stuff. So, if you go check it out, golfthebeerx.com, it's a pretty cool thing. We do it every year. We'll do fairways, hybrids, as well as irons, wedges. We kind of do a whole best of, where we use these fitters' expertise for a whole line of stuff. And then a little later in the year, we'll do members' choice, which we go into the Golf the Beer X forums and ask those members to vote on what they think is the best in terms of products out there. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, pretty exciting. I know it's kind of a big thing. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort every year, and it is up and it is out. And I always feel proud because I kind of help out with it. And, I'm by no means anybody who's writing or anything like that, but I help out doing some of the interviews and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun, and it's out there. So best driver, I mean, for you high swing speed guys, 106 and over, I mean, TSR3, G430 LST, Stealth 2 Plus, Paradigm Triple Diamond, and the Aerojet LS. So we're kind of the top 5. We do 5. I mean, again, it's one of those where, I mean, I guess you could take the top one, but a lot of times voting wise, they're so close, or ties or whatever. It's pretty it's pretty crazy. And even some of these, basically there were with ties, and it was basically whoever. I mean, we had people kind of rank 1 through 5, and whoever got kind of the most first place votes won in a tie, if there was a tie, on there. But yeah, those are the top for 106 plus, which I think is pretty common. I think most people would expect that. And then when you get down to the 95 to 105, is TSR2, and then the standard Paradigm, G430 Max, the standard Stealth 2, and then the standard Aerojet. And then when you get into the 94 or 94 below, so anything below 94, TSR1, which I was kind of surprised at. That club, that the driver hasn't been out very long, but every fitter out there said it's just been really good for the lower club head speed. It's super lightweight. It launches really easy. It's forgiving. It's fast. They're like everything about it is really good for the lower club head speed. And then again, G430 Max. The TSR2 made it in there as well, the Paradigm X, and the Stealth 2 again. So, again, a lot of the things that you would expect to see in terms of, what you would think for those speeds. But yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool, and the biggest thing was hearing this year is and the thing I talked about kind of when I talked about Paradigm when I reviewed Paradigm a few weeks ago. A lot of it is, especially at the higher clubhead speeds, are these fitters, again, talking about how spin on mishits is really well controlled. When you hit it low heel, the thing doesn't spin off the planet, shoot up in the air, and just fall to the sky dead. It stays low spin, it carries ball speed, and the misses, they say, on a lot of those kind of better player drivers are just really good. When you hit it off the toe, it doesn't dive left and low. It kind of hangs in the air a little bit. It keeps some of the spin, and it goes a little straighter. And the stability on some of the kind of the player models is what a lot of these fitters said. They said, ball speed on everything is really, really good. They were kind of touting Paradigm and the Aerojet LS as kind of two of the really fast ball speeds, but they've been kind of saying everything is really, really close. But stability on the players' drivers is something that I think a lot of us are into because, I mean, listen, I'm a 9.4. I don't drive it well. That's probably one of the weaker parts of my game. And, adding some stability in a driver for the faster clubhead speed is always great. And again, I'm right on the cusp of, I'm at that 105-ish area. So, but the stability there and the kind of the players' drivers is really great. Lets me get away with playing a driver that I normally probably shouldn't. And then you get into kind of the mid level, the 95 to 105, and it's all about dialing in launch conditions and how standard Paradigm and even the Ping, the G430 Max, and some of these with the adjustable weights along with the hosels and all that, and how they can really dial in drivers to fit players, whether it's going a higher loft and lowering it a little bit, and then like lowering the loft through the hosel a little bit to keep the face a little more square to open for a player who draws it a little more, exact opposite. If you kind of want to shut the face a little bit for a player who has a problem slicing. I mean, there's just so many little nuances like that these guys can kind of fill you in on, which is pretty cool. And, like I said, to hear it from them instead of just going and renting a robot. You can just go rent a robot and pound balls on, and that's great. You can get some data out of that, and that's fine. But to pull these, survey these guys and talk to these guys who fit literally every day, is pretty awesome. Because I mean they see more balls in the past month than we could ever hit on a robot or ever test with players or anything like that we could ever do. So pretty cool to see. It was fun, and like I said, if you go check it out, like I said, go to golfwrx.com. It's like right there on the front page. If you want to take a look, and like I said, we'll be doing fairway woods, hybrids, and irons. I think wedges as well. Those will all be coming. So we'll be doing the best of for this year. But like I said, go to golfwrx.com, check it out. It's pretty cool. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to get into. It's kind of interesting because I've been messing around with some stuff, and it was something I didn't even think about, but golf gloves. So before. Before I would basically just go buy, I had, really nice golf gloves, what you wear on your left hand or right hand if you're a lefty or whatever, but golf gloves, I've always burned through a lot when I practice a little bit. I play a decent amount of rounds, but I burn through the palms, right in the lower palm. I burn through those things pretty quick. So I would either buy, especially when I was going to the range a lot, I would buy cheaper gloves. And then keep kind of some of the nice stuff, because, you go somewhere and, the guys at PXG or Srixon or TaylorMade or Callaway, whoever will give you some of the nice, tour gloves, whatever, if you went and saw them and all that. And they're super nice. I mean, the tour glove is great. But the cheaper glove that you can just burn up at the range is the one that I've been kind of struggling. It depends. I've kind of gone the route of Costco, because if you walk into a Costco and they have the gloves there, they're a pretty good price. They're not bad. They're a hair thicker, but if you burn through a few of those, you buy them in 4-packs. it's not too bad. But I was talking to a buddy of mine, my buddy Austin, who works over at Callaway, about it, and he was like, "Well, what glove do you use? Just to beat balls in the range, or what's kind of the cheap glove?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of go through a lot of either Kirkland's or whatever." And he goes, "Well, we have a new glove out called the Weather Spann, which is inexpensive, but it kind of has a lot of tech. We've updated it and all that." And he's like, "It's pretty close. It kind of competes with FootJoy's Weather Soft." And I was like, "I hate that glove." I'm like, I've bought it a million times. I don't like it. It just it falls apart in a weird way. Whatever. I had my qualms that I don't like, for whatever reason. Like, that dual pad just kind of feels weird and chunky. It just the synthetic leather on it. I don't know. There's nothing about it that I truly love. And I'm like, if it's like that, not a big deal. I don't really care. And I'm like, he's like, no. He's like, it's like it, but he's like, we've totally updated it. And I was like, well, I have last year's Weather Soft. I bought a couple of these. I'm trying to remember when I bought or why I bought them. I think I bought them like literally just to like hit balls and hit balls in the range. So I had one from last year that I used a handful of times, and it again has like the palm pad, and then usually and then everything else is synthetic leather. On the kind of ring and pinky finger, it's got the this mesh to kind of help it to fit better. Velcro thing, but you can, as soon as you put it on, it's a synthetic leather. And wow, looking at this thing, I didn't even use it that much. And the pad on the heel or on the palm is really worn, even up near the pads of the finger up here, my index and middle finger, totally worn. And I was like, I've had these things, and they don't really hold up much better, and they don't feel as good, and whatever, they don't wear great. And he was like, well, we got a brand new one. It's been redesigned. It's got this like Fuse Tech synthetic leather that will hold up a whole lot better. And I was like, okay, well, let's see. So he sent me a couple, and it's called the Weather Spann is the new one. So I might have messed up that name, but Weather Spann is the new one. Green little package, looks like this, and the glove itself kind of looks like here. So the glove itself, they changed a little bit of the mesh. There's a kind of mesh that runs over the knuckles, as well as the ring finger and pinky. And then it's got, instead of just having a synthetic leather pad on the palm, they've actually gone through and put an actual leather piece on the palm, and then the whole thumb section is all leather as well, like real leather, and then the rest of the glove is synthetic. So it looks pretty similar. It's just got a nice chevron on the top side, on the Velcro portion, but the fit is actually really good. I wear a medium large in pretty much everything. He sent me a few medium larges, and they fit perfect, basically. The one thing with me is that I typically have kind of a little bit of a smaller or shorter thumb, I guess. So like the rest of my so he was asking like, well, how about a cadet? Well, I'm like, the rest of my fingers are fine in a medium large, just the thumb. And the thumbs on these actually fit really well. They're just about perfect. I don't have a bunch of like excess material. But the feel on this one, definitely bigger and much more improved. And I guess the synthetic leather, it's a huge difference on what they did to it. I guess with these synthetic leathers, there's kind of like a layer in there, or it's basically layered when they build it. It's kind of like, kind of layers on top of each other. And in this one, they've kind of gotten rid of the layers and kind of fused everything together into one layer. So like with these, the old one, you can see where everything kind of turned fuzzy. Like it kind of falls apart and it turns fuzzy, which is kind of weird. And he said that's part of it's delaminating, basically. Like the layers of the synthetic leather are basically coming apart. And I've played with some people who have some gloves that look like they are growing fur because they're so old and worn out, and the whole thing is all fuzzy and all that. And he said that's a lot of because it's delaminating. Like the layers are coming apart. And this one doesn't have layers like that. Everything's kind of one piece, and they're kind of like, built together, fused together, which they use the term Fuse Tech for their material. And it's supposed to be more durable, better grip, and it definitely feels better. Like this, the old one, which I have, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you search Golf WRX Radio, if you're watching this on YouTube, the old one, just putting it up next to each other, you can definitely feel it's got a little different look. But the old one kind of does have like a plasticky feel, where the new one does feel like more leatherish. It's still synthetic. You can definitely tell it's still synthetic. But it definitely has a nicer feel than this old one does. The old one, definitely has kind of a cheap feel to it. And then they've also gone through and kind of improved the palm with kind of the little bigger holes for ventilation. And then, like I said, on top, they've got the mesh that runs over the knuckles now, where this one the old one just ran over the last two fingers. So the fit is actually really good. The other thing I like about it too is sometimes over near the wrist, like there's certain gloves. I tried on another brand as I was messing around with gloves lately, that the little like collar around the wrist was huge, and it kind of like comes up and flares out. And I was like, it's kind of weird looking, and it's just there. This one is really compact, but it comes down over the bottom of the hand really well, so it stays in place. The leather thumb, the leather patch on the palm feel really good. And I've used this a few times at the range. These probably have about the same. I mean, this was probably only a couple of range uses, and this thing's already, the old one is already torn up, and the synthetic leather pad is kind of worn into. I've got, I think, like 3 range sessions on this Weather Spann, this first one, and it is, I mean, you can barely tell. You see a little bit of some marking on the bottom, a little kind of dirt, if you will, but it hasn't worn into. I mean, it's kind of maybe smoothed out the leather a touch in the spot where I wear them out, but it hasn't even like frayed it yet or anything like that. It hasn't even dug into it. So durability, definitely way better. The fit on it is definitely superior. Like I said, it with some of those like plastic synthetics, like you put it on and it feels like the glove just slides around on your hand. Like it's not. I don't know if the synthetic leather is just soft, but it doesn't like. It doesn't stick in your hand. It feels like the whole palm, the whole glove is kind of rotating on your hand, and this definitely has a better fit to it. It definitely has a kind of tackier fit to your hand or your fingers and your palm. It doesn't feel like it moves, and I don't have this like locked down at the moment, but just because taking Velcro on and off on a podcast probably doesn't sound that amazing. But like I said, it doesn't move through your hand, and when you're holding a golf club, and you're holding something, a grip. Like I said, a lot of times with those cheaper gloves, they just feel like your hand's moving inside, like the glove's stuck on the grip, but your hand is just moving inside the glove, and this doesn't have any of that. The medium large, like I said, for my hand is kind of a perfect size. It's what I wear in pretty much everything, every brand. That's what I buy. And this one, the nice thing again, it's a little on the tighter side. There's no bunching. There's no extra leather, just like bunching up somewhere or balling up in between the fingers or anything like that. It really does have a good feel to it, and like I said, durability wise, I've been really impressed with so far. It's got a little bit of dirt or a little bit of darkness in the spots where it does the grip sits on my hand and my glove, but other than that, it's held up really well. Now I haven't busted this thing out. I mean, I haven't been able to wear it like the summer when it's 95 degrees or anything like that. So I don't know in terms of how it's going to hold up when you get some real heavy sweat into it and all that. But so far, just on the range and hitting balls, whether it's driver, whether it's wedges, anything like that, it's performed really well, and I'm actually kind of impressed with it. On Callaway's website, it's $12.99 for a single. I think they sell it in a 2-pack as well. I didn't go that deep into it, but I mean it's $12.99, and then I think they make a 2-pack of it that I guess I can't find the 2-pack on the website, but. 2-pack is $22, so you actually save some money if you buy the 2-pack. But really, for an inexpensive glove, it's definitely far improved from even last year. Like I said, if you tried the last year's kind of version of this glove, you definitely I could see where somebody might not be that impressed with it. And like I said, I certainly wasn't. But the new one definitely has a better feel to it, and definitely is more durable. Like I said, the thumb being leather and that palm patch being leather are definitely going to add some durability to the old one. And like I said, it just feels a little bit more like leather. It's not as plasticky compared to the old one. But the Weather Spann here is pretty nice. So I do have to say, I got to give my boy Austin some kudos. He was right that they've definitely improved this thing, quite a bit. And it definitely is way nicer, than I thought it was going to be. Because he was like, "I'm going to send you one or two," and I said, "That's fine." And I was kind of not expecting much. I was kind of expecting it just to be some glove that's going to fall apart in a couple range sessions and kind of feel like crap the whole time. But it does actually fit really well. The mesh on the backside, which is supposed to offer some breathability, does offer some flex in the glove, so it does flex really well. But it's not like a full mesh back that, again, sometimes doesn't feel as secure in your hand. There's just enough there where when you do grip the club, there's enough flex where it's, there, but it still has stability and, the tackiness on your hand to stay where it is. So, again, pretty darn impressed. I wasn't expecting, like I said, a whole lot on this thing. I thought it was kind of going to be, thought it was going to be kind of another, just another glove that I didn't like. But the Callaway Weather Spann, they've definitely updated it for this year, and in nothing but good ways. Like I said, this old one, I'm probably just going to toss out. I mean, you can even see it's got marks on the top side from where I guess that's sweat or whatever. This one, I haven't, like I said, I've been hitting all indoors, outdoors on the range. It's been cool though, so I haven't really sweat that bad in this one. But like I said, I mean, the look of it, the durability wise, the wear on it is so minimal. It's just kind of surprising. So Weather Spann is really, really solid. I'm a big fan so far. I mean, like I said, it's far exceeded my expectations in terms of a glove, especially something at the lower price point, which again I have typically stayed away from. I'm kind of a big fan, but yeah, if you go on CallawayGolf.com, go over to their gear, and you go to gloves, you can check out kind of the new Weather Spann and all the stuff that's with it. But vastly improved over the previous version, like night and day different. Like I wouldn't even know they were the same glove. They're really, really, really good. So, and then the other one I've been wearing a lot has been the Velcro. I'm sorry. Is the Tour Authentic. The one that they make, which the Tour gloves when they put them out. I mean, these things are great. These are kind of what I want to play. And again, I think Callaway, with the medium larges, again, the thumbs just for me fit really well. That's the one spot that I found a lot of gloves, and when I get in, like I wear a lot of, like I've been wearing a lot of like the Kirkland gloves as well too. A lot of that last year I wore Kirkland gloves because they were cheap. The thumbs are always, and there's always a little variance in every glove. Like there's some gloves that are just gonna, the way they process them, there's a little variance in everything. The thumbs always got like either, were always like a little big, or they always had a little excess material at the very tip that would kind of either bunch up or whatever. But the Tour Authentic is really the same thing. Like they've just nailed the thumb size for me, and I don't know if this is just me or what, but I don't have to look at the Cadet or anything like that. Again, the Tour Authentic, all leather, kind of the real feel glove. The real Cabrietta leather, super thin. It's got almost like a little tackiness to it when you get it on a grip, which is pretty cool. But these things, the ultimate feel in terms of when, you're using these, high-end tour gloves like this, I mean, you can feel kind of the, every little nuance in the grip. But these things actually hold up pretty well. This one is brand new. I grabbed this one. I don't remember which golf bag. I have a couple of these. I don't remember which golf bag I have the other ones in. I looked in one bag. It wasn't there, so I just kind of moved on. But I've had one of these that's actually lasted a good long time. And for me, same thing. I wear them out in the palm, but these things actually hold up pretty decent for being that tour glove. They're really soft. They're really good feel, and I love the softness of it. It seems to kind of grip the skin of your hand, and it really just kind of becomes one right out of the box. You don't really need to break it in. It kind of just goes right there, even without any of the mesh or anything on the knuckles or the fingers or anything like that. It really does fit just really, really well. So, the Tour Authentic is I mean, it's a glove that I used to wear a little bit. When I was doing the Callaway demo stuff and stuff like that, I would get a bunch of gloves, either dirt cheap or free. So I would wear it a lot. And now it's a glove that, even with being slightly redesigned from, the previous version, is really, really nice. And, you can tell it's got the slightly less white color to it. It's a little more muted, almost a touch more gray, but compared to the Weather Spann. But definitely a premium glove. I mean, when you take it off, I mean, the collar in it is great. I love that the collar's kind of thicker and has kind of this opti-dry band in it, so it'll absorb a little bit of sweat. But it holds up really well, and for a thin tour glove, which you're not gonna, it's not gonna wear like a Weather Spann in terms of durability wise. It's still a pretty darn good glove. Like I said, I like the fit of it. Like I said, it fits me really well, finger wise, all that. It just, there's no excess to it. It just fits my hand really well. And a lot of gloves out there, they're all slightly different, and everybody's hands are slightly different. I guess mine are, I would say, pretty average. Like I said, they're not big by any means. Um, they're pretty average hands. I've got a little fatter fingers as I've gotten older and gotten a little chubbier, but they fill out well in here. And even with being full cabrietta leather, there's no mesh or anything like that on the sides or on the inside of it. It still stretches and conforms to the hand really, really well. And same thing here, medium large, fits really well. It's got a little tighter fit than the Weather Spann, but again, that's because it's all leather. But like I said, it holds up pretty darn well for what it is, and it offers just really, really good feel, really secure on the hand. I really like how it doesn't move, and the Velcro on it, the Callaway Velcro is really, really strong. I've got a couple of gloves that are kind of in this same kind of premium full cabretta leather, the full leather, and some of them the Velcro is just really kind of weak on it. And I've had a few. There was a company a while ago that used to make leather gloves like this that they were dirt cheap, especially if you bought a bunch of them, and they had a batch that had like bad Velcro that wouldn't even latch, and I of course like ran into those. But I've had a few that the leather just doesn't, or the Velcro just doesn't seem to hold as well. These ones are really strong, which is kind of nice. So even when they start to get a little damp and you start to sweat in them and all that, the Velcro holds on really, really well. And that's the same thing for the Weather Spann. They're just really strong Velcro. But the Tour Authentic is really been a really good glove. I've liked it a lot. I've been a big fan. Like, I don't want to burn up a bunch of these at the range, so these kind of stay in the bag as gloves for the round. Whereas the stuff like the Weather Spann is going to be for the most part for the range for me. But either one, if you're looking for gloves, depending on your budget, not everybody's looking to spend $24 on a glove. Like the Tour Authentic, which is a little more expensive, and the Weather Spann is definitely a little easier on the wallet. You can get two for the same price. So, but like I said, the Tour Authentic is really, really nice. I've been a big fan of it. I've liked the fit. Like I said, I went away from it for a while, and then we move into kind of the specialty gloves. And I know I've just been messing with gloves. I guess it's just this off season. But the Callaway's got basically the new or slightly redesigned the Rain Span glove, which I know some people like Tursky use rain gloves. I left the box over there, so I don't have the box to show you. But the Rain Span glove, which guys like Tursky use, is just kind of their everyday glove. They just they buy a 2-pack and just kind of throw the one away. I typically have not been a big fan of rain gloves. I've used them a little bit when it rains, but if anything, I might use like just the left one, and then the right hand I just kind of keep on and use it. But I was messing with these, and they're actually, I don't know if maybe I just haven't used a full set in a while, and the ones I have are pretty old. I have a previous generation Callaway one, or probably many generations ago, and then I have some another brand as well. But these actually aren't, because I hated wearing two, because I always felt when for me at least, when you do the overlap, it just got really thick and bulky. Like all the material would just add up when you have, both hands on. You'd have your left hand on and then you put the right hand over. And I never felt like the first, like my pinky would sit on top, and then the next finger, my ring finger, it would almost be a struggle to get it onto the grip. And so I just never wear the right one. It was just kind of, there. I would just, in a sense, kind of throw it. It would be in the bag, but I'd never put it on. These ones here, I mean, again, got the kind of that cloth material on the palms. That's basically made to get wet and made to grip the club better when it is wet. And the one thing I can say is that they're very soft, and they have a good amount of mesh on the back, so they're pretty breathable. And they have and when they get wet, they actually stick really well. The one thing when I first put them on, I was like, oh man, they didn't feel like they would like kind of stick to your hand, like they kind of had this little softness, like they would, they're almost too soft. They would almost move a little bit. I got them wet, and as soon as you get them wet, they kind of just like lock onto your hand. This one's, the right hand on me is still actually like a touch damp from when I got them wet and was messing around with them. But I do have to say, like, the material there, I don't know if it's a little thinner, but it's actually not as bad to wear both, and especially when they're wet. Like when they're dry, like I said, it's got a little bit of, um, a slight bit of movement on my hand, but as soon as they get wet, they really lock in, and they kind of, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're designed that way, but as soon as you put them on and they get damp, especially the palms, they just kind of sit into your hands and they don't really move at all. Like the material kind of locks in, and if you try to like twist it on your finger, you're going to twist the skin on your finger before you're going to, it just kind of becomes one when they're actually damp. And I was kind of surprised because I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but taking some swings with with both of them on wasn't that bad. It was actually much better. The material, I guess is so flexible and stretchy that I didn't have near as much of an issue getting the right hand, especially the ring and the middle finger, onto the grip of the club, which again is kind of the spot where I don't like rain gloves, but getting it there has actually worked really well. Like it's actually, when you sit your right hand on there, like I said, I overlap, and then the other two kind of get onto the grip with really no issues. And like I said before, I would really struggle with getting that, especially the ring finger. It just always felt like it was bulky and moved around. This actually lines up really, really well. I do have to say, I was pretty impressed with how those stick. And then when they're wet, I mean, they really grip the club. I mean, even dry, they really grip the club. The material that they're made out of, this kind of softer material, really grips the club even when dry. So if you're somebody like who sweats really heavy, so you use the rain gloves just because you sweat so much, I mean these things kind of lock down when they're wet, and I've never really had a glove feel like it's kind of done that. Like every time I've had rain gloves, they just feel like, yes, they have some traction, but they don't really become kind of one with your skin like these have. So been pretty impressed with them. Like I said, I haven't worn them in actual downpour yet, but I've gotten them wet. And taking some swings with them wet and all that, and they've been pretty good. So I'm pretty impressed with them. I'm actually, I think, for the first time when the league starts up in about 2 months, literally, I think 2 months. I think I think literally 8 Tuesdays from now. I think it's like the April 20th. I'm gonna have these in the bag because I'm excited to try them and actually have them on the course, but. Just swinging a club with them when they're damp, they work really, really well. So the rain spans, the same thing, I guess, in the back, the leather there, they use the same Fuse Tech leather on the back, or synthetic leather. Again, Callaway, strong Velcro on there, so they're going to stay in place. But the Fuse Tech stuff on there definitely feels more more like leather, less like plastic on the back, and they fit really well. Again, the medium larges are really, are really good. They fit me pretty much perfect. I should have measured my hands before, I guess, doing that. I guess I could. I got my, do you think my calipers will work? I don't know if that's enough to, so I guess I'm a medium large, and I guess my palm across, if you put it like in the crease of the palm and all that, is like 3 3/4 inches. I don't know if this is long enough to go. Oh, it's not quite. My middle finger to the, from tip of the finger down to the palm is 3 1/4 inches. Index finger is 2.92 inches. And my thumb is 2.42 and 247 on the pinky finger. So, but like I said, across the knuckles, I'm basically 3.7 inches across the knuckles. So, hand-wise, if you're looking at something like that, I know it's kind of weird that I just have a caliper sitting there, but I think I was measuring ferrules or something like that before. But the fit is really, really good. So, messing around kind of with the Callaway stuff here. Like I said, the Weather Spann is the one that really impressed me the most. That thing, like I said, for $12.99 or for being a $22 for 2 kind of glove pack, a really good inexpensive glove. Like I said, vastly improved over last year. A huge upgrade in there. The Tour Authentic, which I know they ran through last year, and is the same one for this year, still really good. I mean, it's just a high quality leather, and just good feel to it. Even for not having any material on the back, any type of mesh, anything like that, still really conforms to the hand well and fits really good. But that thing's really good. And then the rain spans, the brand new rain span. I've been pretty impressed. Like I said, I think I'm pretty excited to actually try to wear 2 gloves when I go and play in the rain this year, because I never have. I've always gone with just 1 glove. So I will definitely try both gloves and see how it works out. But the Callaway gloves for this year, those are the ones I've messed with. I make a couple others, but if you go to CallawayGolf.com, check out the old site there. If you go under gear, they've got all the gloves there, and they've got a handful as well that I didn't talk about. That I haven't really messed with. So, I mean, the Dawn Patrol, I used to use that years ago. That was kind of that in between, all leather glove, but a little bit a little bit cheaper. And then they've got some of the OptiColor gloves you can get in like black, blue, red, which are kind of cool. They've got the X-Spann, which has no Velcro, just slides over. So they've got a handful of stuff there that you can get into. That's got some cool options. So. Like I said, if you go there, check out CallawayGolf.com and check out all the new gloves. But the Weather Spann, definitely check that thing out. If you've used a similar kind of inexpensive glove before, whether it's just for the range or you burn through them, so you buy a little less expensive glove, vastly improved over last year. I think you'll be pretty impressed with what they've done going into this year. So. Check out the Callaway gloves for this year. Pretty awesome. The next thing I'm going to get into is again, something that's a little different, but SuperStroke has the new Zenergy grips out. So the new Zenergy grips, basically it's a new kind of spine design, new micro textures on it. And it's basically a slightly updated version. They call it multi-zone texturing. So each zone where you have your hands has a little different micro textures to it for a little better traction and a little better grip. But it still has the typical no taper design, bunch of different sizes, all that. So they sent over a box full of every color, I believe it is, of the new Zenergy, the Pistol 2.0. So I've got just about every color of those. So I snagged the Miami Dolphins color away out of the box, which is white, orange, and kind of a light seafoam green type color. I apologize to all you Dolphins fans who that is a different color than what I just said, but it looks kind of like that. And then I tossed it in a putter I had that I've been messing with a little bit around down here, but this is my old TaylorMade Bandon 3 that I've had ever since I actually went to Bandon Dunes. I got it there, but I've been messing with this putter. I put a different shaft in it and all that, so I figured why not put a grip in it as well. And I wanted to try the new Zenergy grips. At the end of last year, I did move my Bettinardi to a Pistol GT 1.0, so a little bit smaller than this, but the Pistol GT 1.0, which I think has kind of gone away. It's just called the Pistol. It's just now called the Zenergy Pistol. They make a Tour, a 1.0, a 2.0. So I'm actually pretty excited. I'm kind of debating, do I want to try the 2 or the 1.0? I've liked the 1.0 on my Bettinardi. The 2.0 is just a little bit bigger than I typically like, but I do like the pistol shape. I do like having that kind of tapered handle section and that tapered section under the left hand. But overall, the look is really cool. It's got a little more design, a little more flair on the side of it. When you look on, the top is pretty much identical. I mean, they've changed it up a little bit, but it's pretty similar to the large SuperStroke logo. Big blank spot where you can actually add some custom logos and stuff. And then, Pistol 2.0 up on the top. So pretty similar look from a dress or from the top side. The sides just definitely have a little more detail and a little different design on it. And then when you look on the back where the stitching is, where the material comes together, totally updated there with some ribbing. And it almost seems a touch more pronounced. I mean, that's the big thing with the Zenergy grips is like I said, the micro texture stuff, but the spine, what they call the enhanced spine technology, and basically an improved embossed ridge where the grip comes together, and It's kind of twofold what it's used for. I mean, it's kind of a reminder, and it also helps with kind of the face rotation. You kind of know where the face is through the putt. Material difference in terms of feel between the old grip and this one, pretty similar. I think this one might just be, man, maybe just a smidge tackier. Now I'm comparing it to a grip that I have a little bit of use on. It's no Jordan Spieth worn out, where it just was basically fur, but it definitely has a little more wear on it. This thing has a touch more tackiness to it, especially, you put your hands on it, and as you pull it away, you can kind of hear your skin release from the grip, and it's a little more pronounced than that grip, the old one. But again, that one is a little older. Overall, the feel isn't that much different. You have just a touch of softness on the very top, and then you get the firm kind of foam core of the SuperStroke grip. And, these things here, I feel like even, in the hot days, I think these things have good traction to them. Like I said, I've been playing that 1.0 for a little while now, and I had it back in the summer when it was 90 degrees. The ridge on the back definitely is a little bit different when I was kind of holding both together. That kind of textured ridge, which it's basically kind of little, diagonal lines on each side. It definitely is a little more pronounced. You definitely feel that ridge a little more in the pads of your hand, which, some people may really like that, some people may not. But I kind of like that the ridge there. It's a little more pronounced, but it's also, I feel like, a little bit softer. It's like just slightly more rounded off, but you definitely notice it in your hands. And the texture on it probably adds just a little bit more traction, as you're holding on to it. Getting it on, putting these things on, no big deal. They're basically just like the standard SuperStroke grips. They've got basically as they're calling it now, the tech port in the back, where you can take out the plug, put in, they make their counterbalance weights that you can put in there. Also, where if you're using like an Arcos or something like that you need to put a tracking module in there, whatever you need to do, but that'll still open up. It has, uses the same little Allen wrench. The one on here now says Zenergy, and it is made of metal, but it's the same little Allen key and all that. Feel on it is really good. Even going to this bigger one, I was kind of, I was a little worried about losing some of the responsiveness, some of the feel of the putter. I kind of like feeling the ball kind of impact the face and leave. Response on it is really good. Just like didn't notice really much difference from my 1.0. There wasn't really much anything more muted, anything like that. I feel like like I said, the little spine, I do kind of like that feel in the pads of the fingers. I think that it feels really good. Did I notice that it was anything with face rotation as I'm putting down here with it? Not anything really. I mean, I just kind of felt like it sat in my hands just a little bit better, and it kind of sat a little more secure with that ridge. But I could see where, people could use it as something where they could, monitor kind of the face rotation of the putter through the stroke. And then as long as you get it on straight. But getting it on straight was no big deal. Like I said, install was, the same as a standard SuperStroke grip. It took me nothing to get it on. This one's actually on pretty darn straight. I'll give myself credit. That thing is pretty darn lined up with the sight line on this thing. So definitely pretty straight. But I've been putting a lot down here with it, and actually got comfortable to the size pretty quickly. I think I'd still want to try either the 1.0 or the GT, just, for me. But the 2.0 really fits comfortably in the hand. And I do have to say, what the SuperStroke stuff does, it's kind of taken, I get like a little right-hand yippy. I noticed it like last year when I was, the Lambkin deep edge cord is still kind of one of my all-time favorites. I was getting the right hand was just kind of influencing putts, especially like, little delicate ones where, as I was about to putt, I was like, do I need to hit a little harder? And I'd kind of, jab at it, and the right hand would kind of try to add a little more power. I'd either miss it, I usually miss it left. So that, the SuperStroke really took a lot of that out of there. But this new Zenergy one, the feel on it's really good. The micro textures there seem to offer good traction. You don't have to grip hard on it to keep it in your hands. It kind of locks in pretty easily. And that no taper, definitely adds, a little bit of that consistency to the putter. I have a couple counter cores. I haven't added anything in here. I typically don't play anything counterbalance, so I haven't messed with it yet. But, they seem to fit just fine. When I was putting this, after I gripped it, I took the thing out because it was, took this out just to let it dry. And, I mean, the wrench is the same little wrench and all that. But the Zenergy stuff feels really good. It feels good in the hands. like I said, it's just slightly different, in terms of the texture compared to the old one, but nothing that's unfamiliar. So, I mean, if you're a SuperStroke person, you've been using them for years, hitting putting one on here, the new Zenergy one, I don't think you're going to notice monster differences. Like I said, I think that spine and maybe a little bit of the texture on the sides, where your fingers kind of rest, you may notice a little something there. But the overall tackiness and grippiness and the actual feel of it, I don't think has changed much at all. Maybe a hair more tacky, but again, I don't think that's. I think that's comparing to an old grip. And then responsiveness has been really good. I mean, easy to tell whether you hit it solid, hit it off the toe, hit it off the heel. I mean, it easily gets that vibration to your hands to let you know what kind of strike you made. And like I said, for me, the 2.0 is a little bigger. I've gotten comfortable with it, but putting wise, just down here, putting a bunch with it, I've been a big fan, and it kind of actually made this putter, which is something that I was kind of off and on with a little bit. I was kind of hot and cold with. I've actually putted a little bit better with this. I think it's added a little bit of consistency, and again, I think it's taken a lot of that right hand out, right hand away from my stroke. I mean, you could this thing here, especially the 2.0, you could easily go a left hand low. I mean, anything that you're going to do in terms of the grip on it is going to feel comfortable. They didn't change the shape. It doesn't seem too much. The pistol is still pretty much what the old one is. And the nice thing is cool that you can go and order ones with your own little logo on them, which is pretty cool. So I was kind of thinking, if I was going to play I want to try the 1.0 or the Tour, which are going to be smaller, and just to see kind of how those feel. And you know what? Maybe if it goes gamer, maybe I do a little Club Junkie one or two. Do a couple of those with a little logo on the top. I think that would be pretty sweet. But overall, the Zenergy, I think it's a slight. Slight change to an already really, really popular line of grips. I mean, the SuperStroke stuff is everywhere when you go play golf, whether you see them on tour, you see them, in amateur bags when you go play on the weekend. They're everywhere, and I think, they did a good job of doing, just some subtle updating without changing anything too crazy, making it too much different or anything like that. So if you're going to go put a new grip on your putter this year, I don't think going from the traction to the Zenergy is going to really, you're not going to notice a ton. It's going to be just slight things that I think you'll either get used to really quickly or they'll be welcome changes. But a lot of colors to this one. They make a white and black, or one that's primarily white, a little bit of black. Primarily black, a little bit of white. They make red, blue, this orange and kind of blue color. The Miami Dolphins one, they make a purple and white, a gray and white, and then kind of a silver and white as well. So quite a few different colors. And again, they make a bunch of different putters. I mean, you have the Tour, the Flatso, the Pistol, the Claw, the Wrist Lock, the Flatso 17, the XL Plus, the Tour 1.0, the two-piece, and then a 1.0 PT, a Zenergy SS2R squared. So I mean, they've got a ton of grips on there, depending on what you're looking for. So definitely check out if you go to SuperStrokeUSA.com. Check out the new Zenergy grips. Like I said, I think they're just a little evolution to something that was great, and I think they're going to continue being really good. So like I said, I've liked the 2.0 so far. I definitely want to try one of those slightly smaller ones and see how that goes. So. Like I said, check out those there. I can't wait to get it out on the actual course. But like I said, I've been putting down here in my shop for probably a couple weeks now with that. I've been I kind of set it up and wanted to kind of mess around with it. And the nice thing with putter grips is you can kind of putt around here and get a good feel for how that grip feels. So we'll see how it goes in the summer. I don't think it'll have any problem. Like I said, the material is pretty similar to the traction from last year. So I think when it gets hot and sweaty, I still think that thing's going to grip pretty well. So that's all I've got for today. I want to also thank everybody who joined my Q&A today, because I'm recording this on Wednesday. If you want to jump in and ask some questions, talk some golf, on Instagram every week I try to do a little Q&A session. So at Club Junkie Pod, all one word, is where I'm on Instagram, and you can jump on, ask some questions, and we can talk some gear, and it's always a good time. So hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Hopefully you can play some golf. I don't think it's going to be warm enough here. I'm going to try to get out and hit some balls, but it's going to be chilly this week. I don't think it's supposed to get much over mid to maybe high 30s. So I'll get out and I'll try to hit a few. But that's all I've got this week. Again, have a good one. Apologize about last week, but hopefully we won't have that problem again. And we'll see you next week.